Welcome to the Prep Pigskin Report podcast, hosted by Papa Pig himself, Paul Rudy.
Welcome to PPR podcast number 37.
Yes.
Do you realize we've been doing this 37 times? Everybody knows Burt Grossman to my right, former 8th pick in the NFL draft back in 1989. We're now just days away from the draft. We'll be talking more about that. In the middle, maybe a guy that one day will be drafted. Would you like to introduce him?
Jax Leatherwood.
From Scripps Ranch.
What did you call it when we had him on PPR? Straight out the womb, he was Jax Leatherwood?
Yeah, straight out.
The line of the year.
Can you tell us about the name? Let's start there before we get to the commitment. How did the name come to be?
So, my dad's worked for the Chargers my entire life, and one day when the Chargers were playing Jacksonville, my mom was watching on TV, and she saw the abbreviation JAX on the screen, and she was like, you know what, I'm going to name my kid Jax.
Very, very cool. I like that. And I bet you have never encountered another Jax in your life.
Actually, no one ever older than me, but I've met like a couple younger kids. It seemed to getting more popular with the new generation.
Well, maybe it has something to do with the way you can sling it. Hey,
what if they were watching the Eagles? It would have been Philly Leatherwood. That sounds pretty good too if they were playing the Eagles.
Yeah, I guess that. Jax, let me be one of the multitude who are congratulating you on your college commitment. Why did you pick Nevada?
Well, like you said, multitude of reasons. First of all, the coaching staff, right when I got the offer, it was constant communication. Everyone on the staff reached out. I felt a strong connection with everyone. And then when I went up on a visit there, it only reassured me of how great these guys are. And when I went on a visit there, I was able to watch a little team scrimmage. And during that scrimmage, I saw the tempo. I saw how great the coaches were with their players and how connected all the players on the team were. And I was like, this could definitely be a place where I would want to play.
What is going on in Nevada? Because there's Nate Cox, who's 6'9". I think Shane Lillingsworth 6'7", and you're 6'8". What's going on at the quarterback position there? That's just the quarterback.
Well, I was actually talking with the quarterback coach, and to be honest, when we first did our little measurements, he didn't know I was 6'8", and I was kind of like bending my knees a little bit to try to get to 6'7", so I didn't seem too tall. And then I told him later in the day, I was like, you know what, coach, I actually was kind of bending my knees. I'm legitimately 6'8". And he was like, I do not care. As long as you have the intangibles to play quarterback, it doesn't matter what height you are. That's perfect.
So that's interesting you said, because most players, they lie about their height. They say they're taller. You list yourself 6'6" everywhere, and I stood next to you. You're not 6'6". You're 6'8". Yeah. So why do you try to keep it down lower?
Well, honestly, I don't really have to anymore now that I'm committed and I have offers and such. But when I was trying to get noticed and get recognition, I was talking with my quarterback coach, Danny Hernandez, and he was saying how it's great to be 6'6" as a quarterback. That's ideal height. The Trevor Lawrences of the world and a bunch of guys like him, that's a typical pro-style QB that they're looking for. So I didn't want to be too much taller than that. I kind of wanted to be that ideal range.
I'd rather be 2 inches too tall than have my hand sizes be 2 inches too small.
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, Kenny. Well, Nevada, is that where Kaepernick went?
Yeah, it is actually. So
is there I know he's a controversial figure, but on campus, I assume he's proudly displayed everywhere?
Not as much as you would think. There's not many murals of him or anything, but all the coaches have a little picture of him in their rooms because he was such a big part of the success at Nevada.
Right.
So I know it's a verbal commitment, and you still have till December to sign your letter. I was heartbroken because I wanted you to go to San Diego State for obvious reasons. Any chance I can convince you otherwise?
Not as of right now. My commitment's pretty closed off. SDSU, let me just say, they're a great program. They're gonna have success. They'll be a good team for a while. But I felt a stronger connection with Nevada, and I kind of have also wanted to somewhat get out of San Diego and have a real college experience outside of what I've always known. So
I can understand that. I think that's the biggest obstacle SDSU has in recruiting San Diego kids, because there's that desire that you just have to get away from home and see if you can some kids have it, and then some kids live far enough outside the county where it is, being away from home. So it cuts both ways. But Jax, the modern day game, I know you're a pro-style quarterback, but the modern day game requires guys to be multi-dimensional, to run the ball, and you're seeing all the success mobile quarterbacks are having. Do you feel that your size leaves you out of that conversation?
Actually, no. I would have said yes about a year ago, but I've been working on my speed, agility, and footwork as hard as I possibly can for the last year or so. And it showed a little bit last year toward in the stretch of the playoffs. I was able to break tackles and get away from guys. And that kind of development will only continue to grow. And I feel like once I reach the college level and then hopefully the pro level, that won't be a worry for any coaches, and I will have that down, and I'll be as mobile as I need to be as a quarterback.
Was last year a big surprise for you? I mean, I'm not going to talk about it because you won a state championship in basketball, football, but I remember we opened up with you guys against La Jolla, and everything was about Jackson Stratton. And Doug Brady was sitting next to me and told me to keep an eye on you. And you were just, throw for throw with him the whole time. And that was the first time I seen you play. But did you guys feel like any kind of magic, at the beginning of the year, this is going to be, I'm going to throw 52 touchdowns. We're going to win a state championship. Was that even on the radar for you guys at that time?
For me, really no. The rest of my team really no. But we have one coach. He's our quarterback coach and our strength and conditioning coordinator. His name's Todd Durkin. He was preaching how this specific team is a championship team, not even just a CIF championship team, a state championship team. And none of us really believed him at first. But once we beat La Jolla and kind of proved our worth in the county, we realized we're one step closer to reaching that goal.
Yeah, but Todd's crazy. He would say you guys could beat the Rams if you asked him. So you got to be he'd be like, we can take the Rams. We can handle Aaron Donald. We'll do it. But you're right. He convinces that. But that was just an amazing run. And you look back on it, and then to finish it with basketball with a state championship, that's not something So what do you do going into senior year? How do you top that?
Got to win again, basically. We're losing a lot of guys, but with the guys we do have and some of the people who want to come to our school, it'll be fun to try to repeat.
Well, let's talk about that, because now it seems like there's an off season in high school football.
Yeah.
As far as just like the NFL, you can amend your roster, kids come and go. I don't want to get into that per se, other than the fact that is there some calls made like, hey, Joey, come join us and play at Scripps Ranch. It's a real good environment. You have a great school, right?
Yeah, I would kind of just put something out on Instagram or Twitter, and if guys were somewhat thinking about it, I would tell them just DM me or text me or something. And had a couple guys reach out and say, hey, I want to join your program over there. I love what your coach is doing. I love how the team's looking in both sports. A lot of the guys are multi-sport athletes, so hopefully once we get them, our team will be rolling.
Now, I know you're very confident. That's very evident, but take me back to state championship. There's 27 seconds left. You have to throw a touchdown. Come on, you had to be a little worried at that point. This is it, it's over. I know you're going to say no, but come on.
Well, what's kind of funny is my receiver, his name's Dean Paley. He's the one who caught the winning touchdown. He was our wide receiver 4. He didn't really play too much. But he told our coach, he was like, this play has worked all night. Give me the ball. I'm going to score. And when I saw how much he was able to convince himself that it would work and how he got the coaches to convince, he was able to convince the coaches about that, I kind of bought it. And I was like, you know what? This play's going to work. I got full confidence in this guy. I'm going to give you the ball and you're going to go score. And it worked.
I have to know what's the call in the huddle. What was the play called?
Man, it was it was empty right.
Jax, you can make it up. He has no idea what you're talking about. Just say anything.
Come on, he was just about to tell me some football.
All right.
Jax, go ahead. What was the call? Empty right.
Empty right, Z bubble, H Lambo. And it was it just kind of worked.
Empty right refers to empty backfield, right? Tight end to the right?
Yeah. I actually messed that up. It's actually H bubble, Z Lambo. Had those flipped up. So empty right, H bubble, Z Lambo.
And what does the bubble refer to?
The bubble is like a little bubble screen
right.
that the tailback and empty would run. And then the Lambo is like a little wide receiver screen that Dean was the one who caught the ball of and ended up scoring.
So that's my next question, because you bring up a good point. That whole play that took forever. When Paul and I played, it was, power right, power left, sweep right, sweep left. And there was only 4 plays, and you didn't even have to study them because they said it, what it was. You didn't play youth football, and then you just walked in and started as a freshman. How did that happen? And did you have trouble picking all this up?
Well, yeah, I've always been kind of a smart guy. It's funny that you bring up the youth football thing. I would play like flag football when I was a quarterback, but we would have wristbands with like the legitimate play drawn on it. So it was basically cheating. You don't have to remember anything. And then when I got to freshman year, we basically ran the same play 60% of the time. Trips right, all push. All my Scripps Ranch guys will know it. It was literally the same play. And then sophomore year, when I became the backup on varsity, I learned a lot. And then this year, like my coach preseason, when Luke Durkin left, he was like, you know what, we got to get you ready. We got to get you more football minded, get a higher IQ. So before the season, during 7-on-7, we were having meetings and we were going over certain plays and certain concepts and how to read every play so that when I inevitably got to the season, I would be ready for everything.
Wow.
It worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
I'll say.
So let's just go over your stats from last year, because these are incredible. 3,900 yards, like 70% completion rate. This is the one, 52 touchdowns and 2 picks. Again, how do you I went to Pitt, so I remember Dan Marino had this magical junior year, and it was like he dropped in the draft his senior year because you just can't match that year. It's almost impossible. Do you have 60 touchdowns and 1 interception? I know you're going to say yes, but I mean, is it even possible to get better in that year in high school?
Who knows? But my objective is to get 1% better. So I'm going for 53 touchdowns and 1 interception.
Fair enough. All right, then can I go back to an earlier question? If you put up numbers like that again and duplicate it, all the schools that are saying, well, he had a great junior year, suddenly are going to have to say, hey, hold it. But this guy is not just a flash in the pan. He's obviously really, really good. And then, all right, let me ask it this way. Does the phone still ring even though you've made your commitment, you're out on social media saying you're going to join the Wolfpack, does the phone still ring? Are you still getting calls from other coaches, or do they honor that commitment?
It's been somewhat quiet, but there are still coaches reaching out.
And if you imagine if you light it up as a senior, won't that even intensify?
With quarterbacks, I mean, it could, but a lot of schools will already have a quarterback commit this coming summer, so they won't even have spots open.
I get it.
So we always ask this question. Every quarterback is on. Last week we had Dom Nankill. He mentioned you, by the way. What are your top 5 quarterbacks in San Diego coming in?
Well, you have to ask it you have to ask it consistently.
All right, what are your top 5 quarterbacks in San Diego?
No, top 3, because you asked the other guys their top 3 quarterbacks.
Wow.
Well, you have to ask the same question.
This will come up in counseling later between you and I. What are your top 3 quarterbacks, not including yourself, and no order in San Diego? Who would you like to go see or watch in a game?
I was actually watching Dom's interview, and I saw this, and thank you to Dom for saying me. But to be honest, like Dom would be in it for sure, but to be honest, there is a lot of great quarterbacks in San Diego, and there's a lot of guys with hype, such as like me, Dom, Sam, Julian, all those guys with hype. But then there's a bunch of guys under the radar who I've worked with where I'm like, they are just as good, if not better, than some of us mentioned guys, including myself. So they're like, I honestly could not name a top 3 because of how great the San Diego quarterbacks are nowadays.
Wow.
Thank you, Senator Leatherwood.
Wow.
Senator Leatherwood, everybody.
I'd like to know who your campaign manager is, and how do I donate to
the cause.
Jeez.
Wow.
Were you a dancer in another life? Because you danced around that one really well.
Yeah, that was pretty
All right,
good.
so let's give some of those guys a little love. Who would you like to acknowledge?
Man, well, firstly, all the guys with hype already, such as Dom, Sam, Julian. I think they're all incredible guys. And Sam, I don't know how he does it. He plays every position on the field.
Right.
Yeah.
And still plays quarterback, so that's super impressive to me. Congrats on his offers, by the way. And then I also there's guys like Mark Sladak at Rancho Bernardo who got injured last year and didn't get to play a whole season. And I've worked with him before, and he's a beast. He runs like a 4.6 40-yard dash. He's super fast and he can throw. There's guys like Dalen Curry at Poway he started as a sophomore at Poway. He's been consistent throughout. He's a great quarterback. And then, man, there's like Johnny Limone over at Eastlake. I think he actually just transferred to Lincoln.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. No, you're right. Yeah. It was Lincoln.
He transferred to Lincoln. I saw him because I was doing a couple practices with him during the off season, and he was very consistent. He threw a good ball. A bunch of guys like that who don't have as much hype yet, who will definitely gather all the hype this coming season.
And that's the interesting part we always forget. It's the guys, there's always 3 or 4 guys that come out of nowhere for the Silver Pigskin at the end of the year that you just didn't even think about, and then all of a sudden they're on the podium.
Speaking of which, what would it mean to you to be on the podium?
Well, that'd be an incredible honor. I haven't been in the football game too long. Like Burt or Mr. Grossman said earlier, I started playing like legitimately in high school. So I started watching PPR probably freshman year, more so sophomore year during the COVID season. And being able to see those guys up on the podium, like receiving those awards or even receiving the recognition of being on the podium, it looks like a really special moment for them and their families. So that would be an incredible honor at the end of the season.
You have any weird hobbies, like, because I know you play basketball too, but any like weird, like do you knit or anything like that? Woodworking, anything like that?
Jeez.
I got an unexpected hobby. I actually play the piano.
There you go.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm not very good at it per se. I played like all throughout elementary school. My graduation gift was that I got to quit piano, but then high school, I picked it back up, and I would just like by ear, like listen to songs. And then I would try to play it on the piano and try to match up the certain chords and rhythms and stuff. And I've gotten decent at it, at least.
Do you have a keyboard around right now?
I got a piano in the other room, but I don't know if I'm ready yet.
Oh, man.
He has to get back to the Senate floor right now.
yes, there's a bill coming up.
Argue a bill, yeah.
Hey, could you talk a little bit about when it comes to great coaches in the county, this is one of the names that comes to mind for me first. Coach Gardnera, I'm sure he X's and O's, he's real solid, but to me, he's a solid leader of men. And I think I put more emphasis on that than, the life lessons he teaches. And I think the X's and O's stuff, while very important for a kid like you, I think the life lessons is the bigger deal. And man, I can't think of a better man to play for. Can you talk a little bit about Coach Gardnera?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know if he knows X's and O's. I've never heard him talk about it. He's more of the head coach that is the like inspirational guy, the guy that'll give you life lessons. He'll always be by your side. Well, the rest of the coaching staff, such as my offensive coordinator, Coach Blevins, who's super solid at the X's and O's and will also give a couple life lessons, is nowhere near the life lessons type guy that Coach Gardnera is. It's after practice every single day. He'll give us a talk about how it's not just about football, it's about life. There's only a couple kids on the team that are going to end up playing college football, and that the rest of y'all really need to focus on how to be better men, and even the guys playing football, how to be better men, how to be better leaders in the community, and just great citizens overall.
And then Blevins is somebody who doesn't get a lot of credit. I mean, because he's quiet. But I remember watching that first game against La Jolla and telling Gardnera, you should buy him dinner and give him a raise at halftime. and then it came to the end of the year where you're playing in the CIF, and you don't see this in high school. He had added so many more layers to your offense and just changed it up. And the first game didn't even look like the second game against each other. In high school, they always look the same against the same opponent, and it was just really impressive watching that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, this is his first year on staff, or actually not on staff. He was an offensive line coach for the past 2 years. This was his first year as the offensive coordinator. Our old offensive coordinator left because he had just had kids and he wanted to coach them in football. They were at that age where they were starting up and starting to play Pop Warner or whatever. And he ended up leaving to be able to be with his kids more, which is super understandable.
Sure.
And then Coach Blevins comes on staff and instantly makes a difference. His intensity, all his play calls, the tempo he runs, it was a complete difference from the previous couple years. And being able to play under Coach Blevins, who I hope gets more and more recognition as it goes on, and I'm sure he'll be a head coach somewhere someday. It was an honor because he's really taught me a lot about the game of football.
Wow. I think that's high praise. Is coaching something you'd ever be interested in?
Yeah, for sure. Coaching or literally anything to stay in sports is hopefully my future. Like if NFL doesn't work out, I want to either go into sports marketing, sports broadcasting, sports journalism, literally anything to stay in touch with the game.
Paul will be retired by then. He could host a PPR probably.
Yeah, you probably could host this show.
Yeah.
Jax, speaking of pay, this NIL name, image, NIL deal is kind of percolating and heating up. Is that something a young man like yourself is looking into, or is that something you ignore? I've heard it both ways. I mean, everybody wants a few extra bucks in their pocket, right?
Yeah, no, there's been jokingly conversations with the quarterback coach at Nevada, but nothing's really like set in stone yet. I mean, a lot of guys deserve it more than I do. My family's pretty well off already. Like, I don't want to be greedy and beg for certain NIL deals when these other kids who are less fortunate could be grabbing them.
You know, I read an article and that reminds you, your mom went to Brown, and wasn't she like an All-American in volleyball?
Yeah, she brings up all the time. She still holds 13 records at Brown volleyball.
So you get your athleticism from her, not your dad, right?
Obviously.
Well, I mean, my dad played high school football and basketball, and he's helped with like little footwork things with both of the sports. But the overall athleticism, it's got to be my mom.
Well, I know your dad. How tall is your mom?
My mom's 6'1".
So now it's starting to come together here.
It is, yeah.
It's all. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, we got time for doing. You got one more?
I don't know. I promised him 15 minutes. Are you at school right now?
No, I ended up staying home.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Did we get you in trouble in any way? Because I didn't.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. If as the season percolates, and if you're having a good year, you will have to come on the PPR and play a little ditty on the piano. What number are you working on right now?
I don't even know.
You can't do like Mary Had a Little Lamb or anything?
I could do that if I learned it, but it's more like mainstream songs you hear on the radio that I'll like pick up.
Of course, you have to play sophisticated stuff.
Yes.
Well, Jax, we promised 15 and we're at 21, so we apologize for running a tad long. Young man, as I said it to you when we first talked on the air, you're an easy kid to root for. You're very personable and you're very authentic, and that doesn't happen by accident. So please, to all the adults in your life, congratulations, kudos. Kids like you don't happen by mistake. And we'll be rooting for you when the Falcons lace it up.
Not against State. Not against State. Oh, I thought you meant the Wolfpack. My bad.
Well, right now I'm going to root for them at the high school. I just want you to, the wins and losses don't matter to me, Jax. I just want you to be healthy, so your path stays. I guess the thing as we wrap this up, there's a bunch of Jax Leatherwoods out there. There's a bunch of high quality athletes, and even when you think you're the top of the heap, then you get around the corner and there's another mountain with even guys higher up than you. Does that keep you up at night, or do you enjoy the challenges of putting your skills up against others?
I enjoy the challenges. I'm a competitive guy with a competitive spirit, and I always want to better myself by being around guys who I personally think are better.
And again, for you, I mean, you saw last year was basically your second, third year playing high school football, and you just annihilated the state with stats. You imagine what it's going to be like your 8th, 9th year. I mean, it's almost like the game will be slow for you. You see everything.
Yeah. What are you guys going to be in D1 next? Where are you next year?
We're D1.
And Mater Dei's D1.
Yeah, they got bumped up 2 divisions.
Yeah, which is, I thought it wasn't supposed to happen, but it did.
It
do you guys have enough guys to compete at D1?
Of course.
All right.
It's going to be an interesting year.
Everybody, please prepare to turn off the machines. Burt, say goodbye to Jax.
Jax, thank you so much. Good luck, and I'll see you in the fall.
Jax, thank you so much. Good luck. We'll see you in the fall.